got chapter 3 here. So chapter 3 is going to be about, we are now going to be looking specifically at our sample and looking at trying to analyze that data, looking at the averages, looking at the spread, okay? So we're really kind of getting into some real statistics today. So the first part that we're going to do, we're going to look at the measures of center today. On Tuesday, we'll look at the measures of variation, and then we'll do our relative standing and box plot probably next Thursday. So descriptive statistics. This is where we're going to learn how to summarize or describe the important characteristics of a known set of data. Inferential statistics, that's where we'll learn how to use our sample data to make inferences or generalizations about the population. This is kind of the goal. We're going to be moving to this at the end of the semester. We'll be here, okay? Right now, we're up here in descriptive statistics, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is look at the measures of center, all right? Measures of center, this is on your class notes there. It says it's the value at the center or middle of your data set. There are 4 ways that we will look at this, okay? We will examine the mean, median, mode, and mid-range. Oh, what did you notice about all of those?
You're familiar with the mean, median, and mode from the first mathematics course?
Okay, true, yeah, that's a good point too. Okay. What do they all start with?
M.
You got all about tricks, right? So how do you remember your measures of center? Oh, that's the M ones. Okay, that's your mean, median, mode, and mid-range. All the M's are your measures of center. Okay? Mean. There's the definition. Hey, I want you that when you hear the word mean, you think of the word what? Average. So please highlight that, write that down if it's not there. That's your word association with the word mean is average. Well, how do you get an average? Someone tell me.
By adding all those
You add them all up and divide by
the number of
the number that you have, right? Okay, so y'all already know how to do this. You know how to find the mean. Well, this is where we gotta have to come back to some more symbols today. So I'm gonna back it up for a minute. X, okay, which kind of just like in math in general, X is normally the variable, all right, used to represent your data values. It's kind of a common math thing. That's your X, right? Notice that I now have a lowercase n and an uppercase n. So lowercase n represents the data values in our sample. So I would say that you want to memorize this as sample size. So the lowercase n, this is your next symbol, because last class we learned the symbol for what? Frequency, good. So now we have a number 2. Number 2 symbol is lowercase n. This is your sample size. Capital N is your population size. Now let me help you when you're trying to memorize. It does no good to be like, well, all the N's are your sizes. No. You need to actually memorize which one is the sample, which one is the population. So again, you're memorizing lowercase n as what?
sample size.
Sample size. You're memorizing your uppercase n as? Population size, yes. So, here we go. Here's your first kind of real symbol. The symbol for our sample mean is X bar. So literally it's an X with a bar over top. Okay? Our symbol for our population mean, we pronounce this symbol as mu. What is that? It's basically, you guys, your cursive U, but it's got its tail in the front. Okay? So you have your sample mean, population mean. Again, do not memorize mu as, oh, that's just your mean. No. U specifically is what? Population. Okay. Population mean. As far as sample mean. Now, I gave you here the lovely math notation. What is all that saying? Well, this is a sigma. That sigma, that just means that's the summation. Okay? That's actually also one of your symbols to memorize on your symbol list. So what's this saying? How do I get my sample mean? Oh, you're going to add up all your data values and divide by, what's that lowercase n again? All right, your total. See? That's your equation. Down here, mu. How do you get your population mean? Oh, you add up all your data, divide by what? The population size, right? Now, do you have to know that? You don't got to know all that, the little formulas. Just memorize the symbols, okay? Okay? So again, if I say mean, what do you think of? What word? Average. Oh, weak. If I say mean, what do you say?
Average.
All right. Some of the advantages, it takes in account every data value, okay? That can also kind of be a disadvantage because what if you have a number that is very different from the rest of the data values? It's going to affect that, right? Because let's say, just say for example, if we're talking about maybe a student with some test grades, and let's say on that first test, it was rough going. You got maybe like a 60. Okay? But then you buckled down. You came through. And then you got maybe like an 85, a 92, a 90, and let's see another maybe an 89. So let's take the average of those grades. So I'm going to add 60 plus what? 85 plus my 92 plus my 90 plus 89. Divide by what? Well, if you want to do it in one step, you better have parentheses. I didn't have mine. I'm going to say enter and then divide by, what is it? How many tests is that?
5.
5, okay. So, okay, it says that my average is an 83. That's a low B, right? Do you think that low B really kind of represents this student? Not really, because to me, this student looks more like a low what? Like a low A almost, really. But that one test grade is kind of way out there. It really does affect your mean, right? So we'll kind of keep that in mind. That's one thing about the mean, that you can have a number that's very, very different, and it can possibly really drastically affect your average. Okay. All right. Now, of course, this is my class. I'd be like, don't worry, your final can replace that 60, right?
Yeah.
Just saying. So it'd be okay. Next word, median. So here is the definition. It's the middle value when the original values are arranged in order of increasing or decreasing magnitude. What's that mean? All your data values are in the middle. Oops, excuse me. They're all ordered in the proper order. The median is the physical middle number. And that's what I would say to you, kind of memorize this. For median, median is the physical middle. I would jot that down. That's your word association for median. It's the physical middle number. Some of the advantages. Hey, I'm not worried about extreme values. Bless you. It's not going to affect my median. Let's look at the test scores that we just were looking at. Let's see. If I were to put them in order, I would have the 61st What number came next? Okay, okay, just tell me. 85, what was next after that? 89, then what? 90, then? 92. Okay. Oh, so what's the physical middle number?
89.
Ah, that probably kind of better represents this person in this case, right? Okay, that's how you would get the median. It's the physical middle number. Is that okay? Well, that was easy because it was an odd set of numbers, right? What do you think you might do if you had an even? Yes. So, if you have an even number of data values, you would get the two middle numbers and average those, and that's still the physical middle number, right? All right? So, we learned mean. What's mean mean to you?
The average.
Average. Median means what?
Physical middle
Middle,
number.
all right. Okay. Mode. This is the value that occurs with the greatest frequency. And so really, kind of the best word association for this is say greatest frequency. That's kind of your key and your word association for mode. Greatest frequency. What do I mean by that? Data sets can have one, more than one, or no mode. So if you're bimodal, you're going to have two data sets that occur at the greatest frequency. If you're multimodal, you have more than two. No mode, you have no data value being repeated. Well, if we go back to our test score example, do I have any test score value being repeated? No. So in that example, it would be what? No mode. Yes. Okay. This is an important note. Is this in your notes? That mode is the only measure of center that can be used with normal data? Okay, so jot that sentence down. That's important. And I'll pause Haley for that. Okay. Let's do some examples. So quickly look up here. In example 1, what's my mode? Okay, so I actually want the answer. What's the number? What's my answer for example number 1?
1.1.
Yes, we all agree that 1.10, that would be my actual answer for my mode. My mode equals that. Why? That number I have how many times?
2 times.
Right. Okay. So, for example number 2, mode equals.
27.
Ah. So y'all said 27 and 55. Why is that?
Because they're both put down 3 times.
Exactly. What about that 88?
Twice.
Exactly. It's the greatest frequency. So because I have these two 3 times, that trumps the 88 being twice, right? So how do I actually write that? Well, you would just say 27 and 55. That's your actual answer, okay? For example 3, what would be my actual answer for this example?
There is no mode.
Right. And this is where I need you to actually write that. Go ahead and say, no mode. Don't leave it blank. I think you don't know what you're doing, right? So actually give me the answer, no mode. Is that okay? All right, so one more time. Mean means what?
The average.
Average. Median.
Physical middle number.
Physical middle. Yeah, okay, we're losing the group effectiveness here. Mean means what?
The average.
Average. Median together means what?
Greatest
Physical
middle
middle.
number.
And now let's come back to mode. What's mode mean?
The greatest frequency.
Greatest frequency. All right. We've got one more M to learn. Mid-range. Mid-range, you actually have a formula, okay?
Which is very different from the other one.
It is. So how do you find mid-range? It's the max plus the min, and you divide by 2. Okay? I will just say this, mid-range is not normally used as much because this only takes into effect your max and min values, right? That can be pretty extreme. Okay, so it is a measure of center, but it's probably not as popular necessarily as the other 3. Okay, so mid-range, you have a formula, max plus min, and you divide by 2. Okay, so what I want us to do, I want you to jump in your notes to this example. So if you notice in your notes, your 3rd page says in-class example. Y'all see that? So kind of flip over to where you have this example that talks about the price of dollars for the air conditioner. Y'all all see that example? So in your notes, so it says the in-class example, right? And then you've got the price of the air conditioner. So, okay, it says the price in dollars for the sample of roof air conditioners listed below. I have no idea what this $840 air conditioner does. Maybe it like blows ice at you. I don't know. It's very expensive compared to the other ones. But, all right, so we have this. I want you guys to find the mean, median, mode, and mid-range. Can you go ahead and do that now? Remember that for the median, they have to be in order, just as a reminder. All right, so when you added those all up and divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, thank you, what was the mean?
513.
Okay, so I didn't give you rounding rules. Normally, my go-to rounding rules are 2 decimal places. Okay, so just to help with that, so normally I would say round to the whole number. So I would say 0.86, yeah, what I would say. Okay, well, that's okay. I didn't tell you that. So all right. So write this down. So we said 512 and 0.86. Is that okay? Ooh, wait a minute though. Do we know a symbol for the word mean? Yes, you learned a symbol today for the word mean. Go back to your notes. Do you think this would be a sample or a population? Let's go back and look. What key word do you see in the problem? Oh, this says a sample of air conditioners. So, okay, when I do this problem, if you have a symbol, you're going to be responsible from now on for using that symbol. So what does the symbol for sample mean? Just learned it. So you're going to actually say, oh, X bar equals 512.86. That would give you full credit for that problem. Okay? So go ahead and add your symbol in. Now, median. Was there a symbol for median? No. So we're good. When you guys put them in order, what was the physical middle?
470.
470, good. Do y'all agree? Do y'all agree?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm just checking. Mode. Do we have a mode?
440.
440, okay. And then the mid-range? 630. Okay. So notice, because of that super fancy air conditioner, right, it really does kind of affect our measures of center, right? Okay. Well then, could we do this again without having the high number in there, which we kind of the fancy name for that is outlier. We'll actually define that later on in this chapter. But can we do it again and see if it makes a difference? So, let me let you do that. So can you do this again? If you haven't already done, just discuss quickly. And I want to show you an easy way to get your answers, okay? So I believe that you should have had what? 548.33, right? That's your new mean. Then you had 455 for your new median. And then your mode did not change, right? Oh, let me add in the mid-range. I left the mid-range off the PowerPoint up here. So the first mid-range was 630. What'd you get for your second mid-range? 460, okay? And then don't forget that you want to have your symbols, right? So this is the X bar here. Here's an X bar for that. Okay. So when we look at this, which example do my measures of center look very similar? Example 1 or example 2? Example 2. Notice that these numbers are a lot closer together, right? Because we took out that high number. So this really kind of truly shows you what your measures of center are all about, okay? Yes, ma'am.
Why did we round the mean for the first one, but not the second one?
The median, you should have come out with the actual whole number, did you not?
No, ma'am. I mean the mean, because we got 512.85. We rounded up. Well, back here we rounded up on the second example too, and got 458.34.
Okay, might be a typo. Let me see. So if I put in let me put my numbers in real quick.
It's because on the main, on the second one, it was 458.33333.
Okay, thank you. So here's the reason why for that. So if you have, so the answer for the example number 2, your calculator goes like that, right? Yeah. So when you want to use 2 decimal places, you come say 1, 2, you look here. If this is a 5 or higher, then you round up, right? So as a reminder, it's okay. So because it's a 3, I keep that 3.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. So we have, you can go back through, and right now it's not really important. If you want to fill in your notes, I'll just give this to you real quick. You can find the difference between the means. That ends up being 54.53. The difference in the median was 15. There's no difference in the mode. Here's what I want you to come away from. So this little point down here. Outliers affect, and we're not going to look at the mid-range, okay? Outliers between the mean, median, and mode. Your outliers affect the mean more than any other measure of center. And again, we're kind of disregarding the mid-range because we don't really use that one, to be honest, that much, okay? Now, how hard was it to figure out your average, add them up, put them in order? Not too bad, right? Because your sample size was what? 7. Yeah. What if you had like 50? Who wants to do that? Nobody, by hand. This is where our technology comes into play. I want you to pull out your calculator, and we are going to, I want to show you how we're going to use technology. So let's go back just to the very first example here. How can we quickly get all of our answers for our first list? Here's what I want you to do. You will press stat. So if you need to kind of jot this, you don't have to jot this in your notes. Sorry about that. The instructions are in your notes. So what do? You press stat, okay? You're then going to right click and go over to, y'all, I'm messing up. Woo, this is whatever day today is. What's today? Thursday? Feels like a Monday. Okay. All right, let's back it up. Press Stat and press Enter. This should give you your list in front of you, right? Y'all agree with that? Who has stuff in their list? All right, let's learn how do we clear our list. If you have data in your list, you'll press the up button so that you have that list highlighted. Here's the key thing. You will press the button that says clear. Do not delete your list, okay? Press clear and down. And then magically, oh, it's all gone, okay? One more time. In your list, press the up button so that you have the actual L1 highlighted. Press what button? Clear, the clear button, and press down. Now I have a clean slate. Does everybody have a clean slate now?
Yep.
Go ahead and put your list of air conditioners in. So quickly go ahead and type in. So you type in your number, press enter. Type in your number, press enter until you have your whole list.
Including the expensive one?
Yes, go ahead and include the expensive ones. Yeah. So you should have 7 numbers listed. So how do we get our information from our list? Here's the steps that you're going to need to memorize. You're going to want to say stat. So press stat. You then want to go to calc. So you will do that by pressing the right arrow key. Okay? And then you're going to press enter, enter. Notice you have this in your notes. So if you get home and forget, read the notes, right? It says stat, calc, enter, enter. Oh, let's see what we have. I want to compare. Oh, it took all my numbers away that I had from before. I know. Hold on, I'm going to go to this page. What symbol do you guys see as the first symbol in your calculator? X what? X bar. Oh, we learned that. X bar means what? Sample, yes. Sample mean. That's how you memorize it. X bar is sample mean. So great. The calculator, hey, gave you the answer. Okay? Now let me tell you one important note. The calculator, it cannot recognize a population. So if you happen to have in your problem, you're doing a population problem, it's going to always have X bar there. So if your problem is about a population, you need to change that symbol to anybody remember. What's the population mean? That mu. So mu, you will change that symbol. Okay, we'll do some work with that. All right, what about median? Well, take your, with your calculator, press your down arrow key. Press down, 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 down. Interesting. Look what the calculator now gives you. It gives you the minimum number. Great. We will learn what the Q1 is next week. Oh, what do you think MED stands for? Median. Great. Median comes straight from the calculator. All right. Then you also have a Q3 and a max. Now, mode, the calculator will not do, you guys. Okay. So you do have to physically look through your data to find the multiple ones. Okay. Now, if you're asked to find the mid-range, can the calculator help you? Actually, it can, because here's the formula for mid-range.
Mid-range is maximum data plus maximum data divided by 2.
What do you see listed for you in the calculator there? Max and min. So the calculator can help with mid-range. It won't give you the answer, but it'll help you. Okay? So with that being said, I want you guys to do the next example using, let me see where to go. Let's go with the notes. So go to in your notes. I want you to do the NCAA football coach salary. I want you to put all those numbers into your list, your L1, and do this again with your calculator and see how much faster this goes with technology. Okay, I'm going to pause, Tegree. All right, so in this problem, we're looking at this. Actually, y'all, this is old because there are now a couple of coaches that have $1 million salaries. This was like a few years ago when just Coach Saban at Bama was like a $1 million coach. Now there's some more besides just him. Okay, so let's look at this. So first of all, do you think the rest of the coaches are going to get a fair shake in this deal if we include back then Coach Saban's $1 million contract? Is it going to really represent all of these coaches, do y'all think? No. He has messed it up, folks, right? Let's look at your numbers. So if you put all those numbers into your L1, right? So I already put those in my L1. Who remembers how do I get to that screen that gives me all my information? What do I press from this place? I go to what? Stat. What's next? Count. What's next? Excellent. Enter. Okay. So if you're jotting this down, and then, what symbol should you use for mean? X bar, because what do you see in the problem? What word? This is how, probably one of the different things about this class is that you're going to have to get used to reading your problem and looking for keywords. So I had to read through and thought, this is a sample. That triggers to me that all the symbols that I need to use better be sample symbols for this problem. So, okay. I'm going to say X bar. X bar equals, and then I put in my number here. And just copy. And since this is money, it sure does make sense to use 2. All right. So again, does that really kind of look, let's remind ourselves. What's the word association with mean again? Average. So does this really represent the average of like the coach's salaries?
No.
All right. And then remember, you just scroll down. That's how you get to your median. Remember, there's no symbol there, right? Mode. Do we have a mode? So do you leave a blank? No. What do you do? No mode. Thank you. And then you can find your mid-range. You can add the max plus the min, divide by 2. You should get, let's see. Oh, that's 750. Yeah, I think 50 cents is right, what you get there. Is that okay? Put some commas in there. All right. Coach Saban's messing up the game. If you did this without him, what do you get? I'm going to quickly put the numbers up again, just that you can have it for your reference. Basically, it now moves the average back down to your 3,700. Let me see, hold on. Let me get all my numbers together. $100,000 range, which that I think is a better what? Assessment, probably right. Oh, sorry, I forgot one thing. Let me show you how to do that. So, if you've got your list, we go back to stat. And all I want to do is take out one number. You don't have to clear and start again. All you have to do is come down. This is Coach Saban's number there, okay? Now you can actually press what key? Delete. That takes out just his number. It saves you having to re-enter it, right? And now what do you press again? Stat, count, what? Enter. And so now I'm back with all my new information very quickly. Okay, I'm sorry, I should have told you that beforehand. So, okay, let me scroll down to my median. 300,000. Mode, there's still what? No mode. Mid-range. 400, 8,000. All right. Is that okay? Well, that's all well and good if I had just one list of numbers given to me. What if I have a different kind of problem? I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint now. We're going to look at what's called like weighted mean problems. When data values are assigned different weights. What do I mean by that? This is a classic case. This is y'all come now. Okay? This says a student 1530 earned grades of 92, 83, 77, 84, 82 on her 5 regular tests. She earned grades of an 88 on the final exam and 95 on her class projects. Her combined homework grade was 77. The 5 regular tests count 50%, final exam is 25%, the project is 10%, homework is 15%. What's her grade? This is y'all. Y'all be like, oh, what's my grade? This class teaches you how to do that. Okay? So what do? You've got your little column there, right? You've got your grade. I could spell grade, that'd be helpful. So grade, and then I have the weight column. Now, let's put in the first one, let's get our tests. I'm going to put a T for that. Then let's put our final exam. Then let's do our projects. Then let's do our homework. So kind of jot that out to the side. First of all, I need to have one grade to represent her tests. What should I do? She's got 5. Average up. Let's do it. Average up her 5 tests. So add those first 5 up very quickly. Average those and tell me what's her test average. Okay, let me give people a minute to do it, but I agree. When you guys get through, no, you're good. When you get through that, when you add those up, divide by 5, did you guys all get 83.6?
Yep.
Okay, yes. Okay, so you can then say, so add them up, divide them. Okay, how much does the test count? What's the weight associated, you guys, with that test?
50% of the final.
50%. So we're going to then use that as a decimal. We're going to say 0.50. Is that okay?
Yep.
What's her final exam grade, y'all?
88.
Okay, 88. How much does that count? 20. Okay, so 0.25. Is that okay? What about her project? What'd she get? 95. And then what's the weight?
10%.
All right, 0.10. And then finally her homework, what was that grade? 77. And then how much, what's the weight for that? 0.15. So that's your first step. Your first step in this kind of problem is to get all the grades, right, with the associated weights. So, okay, pull out your calculator. We are going to go back to your list. So again, press Stat and Enter. Go ahead and clear out your list 1. Let's start again fresh. I want you to put the grades, there we go. The grades are going to go in L1, and the weights, if you can see that, that goes in L2. So let's do that now. So let's go ahead and put the grades. That's going to go in L1, so your numbers go in L1. And then the weights, I want you now to put in L2. And then your screen should look like my screen. A key thing that I need you to remember. When I have one list, like last time, you would do what? Stack, calc, enter, right? We cannot do that when I have 2. When I have 2 lists, you will do stacked, count, just like last time, enter and stop. Because you have to tell the calculator that I have how many columns?
2.
2. So you're going to say, press your second button, and the number 1. Oh, what now pops up?
L1.
L1. You're then going to put a comma. The comma is above your number 7. You'll then do second again and the number 2. This is what tells the calculator to draw from both of those. L1, comma L2. Now press enter. This is now your average. Now, if you have the new kind of calculator, some of y'all do. Raise your hand. It doesn't look like that. Oh, a lot of y'all do. Hold on. Let me see if I can make this Elmo thing work. Because I have the new one too in my book bag. So if you have the new one, hold on. Hold on. So if you have the new calculator, you start at this same spot, right?
Yeah.
You press stat, just like before. Go over to calc. You press enter. Now, you just follow directions. So for the list, that's where I've got my list of numbers. Yeah, that's in L1. My frequencies, that's the weight. That's in my what? L2. So you're not doing L1, comma L2. You're putting L1, then L2 in the actual spot here. So if you didn't have it there, how do you put it there? Second and the number 2. Now I have that there, okay? Then you press calculate, and then you have the same answer. Is that okay?
Yeah.
If you have the new calculator? So if you have the other one more time. So with the other one, we start with the regular screen. You go stat, count, enter, stop. L1, comma, L2. So L1, comma, L2. And so what is this person's lovely grade? 84 point, what was it? 85. Is that okay?
Yep.
All right. So, let's now look at your last example in your worksheet. So go to the example that talks about the people and their speeding. The speeding ticket example. The given frequency distribution describes the speeds of drivers ticketed by the town of Poughkeepsie Police. These drivers are traveling through a 30-mile-per-hour speed zone on Creek Road, which passes the Authors College. How does the mean speed compare to the posted speed of 30 miles per hour? Well, first of all, these folks are doing what? They're speeding, like seriously speeding, okay? Let's look at their average, at the mean. Ooh, interesting. I'm giving, that looks kind of like some class limits, doesn't it? In the frequency. I can't put class limits in my lovely calculator. Anybody had a thought or a suggestion that might be helpful that I can use to represent the class limits?
Class midpoint.
This is why, I can use the class midpoint to represent these class limits, right?
Yeah.
And then I can use my midpoint in the frequency in my calculator to get my answer. So let's look at that. Who remembers, this is why it's important we got to keep building, right? We can't just learn and forget. How do we get our class midpoints again?
Maximum number minus the minimum number divided by the number of classes.
So we're going to do, be careful, so we're going to do my 45, and what do I do? I'm going to add. So 45 plus the 42, and then divide by what? 2. So, okay, I've got 43.5, that's my middle number for the midpoint. Is that okay? Now, I can do that all the way down. Or wasn't there a trick?
That's weird.
Class width. Oh, do I know the class width?
Yes.
Yes. How do I figure it out?
It goes from 42 to 46.
Awesome. Don't forget. Remember, you went from here to here. That's the class width, right? So how do I go? From 42 to 46, the answer is what? 4. Oh, great. So now I can say 43.5, and I can just quickly say plus 4. Plus 4, and just start getting all the rest of my answers here. Does that make sense? Is that okay? All right. So, like before, my numbers go where? In L1. The frequency or the weight will go where? L2. Let's do that now, please. So your screen should look like my screen. So if you have your 2 columns in, I'm going to go stat, calc, enter, enter. That gets me my information on, oh no it doesn't. What I forget, y'all?
Hit enter once.
Stat, calc, enter. I forgot my own rule. Stop. Right? L1, comma, L2. Because I have the 2 lists. Now, this is the correct information. So what's my mean going to be? And first of all, I would say, I think this is probably, now are we told this is a sample or pop? I don't think it's a sample. You're not told, are you? Does it say? I'm going to assume a sample. This is not every single car like this come by that place. So we're going to say X bar equals 46.78. How do you find the median again?
The average, the middle physical number.
Sure, but how do I find on the cat? Where is it?
Scroll down.
Thank you. Yep, scroll down. Oh, great. There it is. 45.5. On the other calculator, as a reminder, you've got this screen here. Let's see, like, okay, what do? You do stat, calc, enter. You make sure that you have your L1 in your list, and you have to have L2, right? Oh, when to calculate, then you go, in the frequency, then you calculate and you get your same answers, okay? So, let's finish the rest of this question, though. How do I talk about mode? By definition, what was the way that I told you your association with the word mode? The most, right? Or the greatest frequency, okay? So, it's a little different setup, but where does the most, or where does the greatest frequency still occur? What number is that? Okay, what's the actual greatest frequency? The actual number is what?
9.5.
Would you agree that the 25 is the greatest frequency, right?
Yes.
However, what number represents that? That's how you get your mode. So one more time, how do I get the mode? You still look for the greatest frequency number, right? But I need the number associated with that. I need that midpoint number. That's going to be your mode. Then what do you think you keep looking to get the mode of class? Where's that? Right next door. What's your mode of class going to be? 42 to what? To 45. Okay? So what can we say about these folks? These folks are obviously, they're speeding. They're in a 30-mile-per-hour zone. The average people are doing like 46.78. Okay, so just to kind of quickly wrap this last part of your notes up. So in this last page of your notes, the actual other part of your notes, measures of center. Remember that again, your mean is your average, median, physical middle, mode is the greatest frequency or the most. Mid-range, you've got your formula there, right? Well, let me just show you how we can bring that in from the last class. We talked about things being skewed left, skewed right. Remember we had the normal, we call it the bell-shaped curve. How do we, say what?
We didn't do that.
Yeah, we didn't do that. All right. Y'all gonna learn that this weekend. Let me know what. All right. We'll put that back. Let me just stop right here.